You know what you need to do. You know it matters, and somehow you still do something else. Not because you are lazy, not because you do not care, but because your brain is choosing relief now over reward later. That is the real engine behind procrastination. It is not a character flaw. It is a battle inside your mind. One part wants comfort, the other part wants results, and comfort usually speaks louder when the task feels hard, boring, unclear, or emotionally heavy. So your brain looks for an exit, a quick scroll, a snack, a message, anything that makes the discomfort disappear right now. And the strange part is, it works for a moment. Procrastination gives your brain exactly what it asked for: less pressure, less stress, less uncertainty. But that relief does not last. The task is still there, waiting, and now it feels even bigger, heavier, more dangerous. That is how procrastination grows. One small delay becomes another, another, then suddenly the whole day is gone. And each time you avoid the task, your brain learns the same lesson. Avoidance feels better than action. So the next time, the resistance gets stronger. This is why procrastination is so sticky. You are not just choosing inaction. You are training your brain to chase temporary relief. And relief is powerful, but expensive, because the work does not disappear. It just waits. The deadline gets closer, the pressure rises, the guilt starts building, and now the task feels worse than before. Not because it changed, because your brain attached stress to it. So the next time you think about starting, you do not just see the task, you see the discomfort, the frustration, the pressure, the feeling of being behind. And that memory makes starting harder. That is the loop. Avoid, feel guilty, feel worse, avoid again. Your brain keeps asking one question: what will make me feel better right now? And if the answer is not this task, procrastination wins. There is another reason this happens. Your brain values immediate reward more than future reward. That is called short-term bias. If something helps now, your brain pays attention. If something helps later, your brain often discounts it. So a future benefit can lose to present discomfort. Study now for a better grade later. Work now for less stress later. Write now for a better result later. All logical, all true. And still, emotion is faster. Discomfort is louder. So even when you know the task matters, your brain may still choose the easier path. Not because it is irrational, because it is trying to protect your current state. And that is why procrastination shows up most when the task actually matters. If something is meaningless, there is no emotional weight. But if it matters, the pressure rises. Fear of failing, fear of doing it badly, fear of not knowing where to start, fear of discovering you are not ready. So procrastination becomes more than delay. It becomes avoidance of emotion. A lot of people think they procrastinate because they do not care enough, but often it is the opposite. You delay the things that matter most because they threaten your identity. Now, the task is not just a task, it feels like a test, a judgment, a threat to the version of yourself you think you should be. That makes starting even harder, because now you are not only avoiding work, you are avoiding shame, avoiding failure, avoiding the feeling of being stuck. And the brain hates being stuck. Stuck feels unsafe. Stuck feels uncertain. Stuck feels out of control. So your mind reaches for anything that creates movement, even fake movement, scrolling, cleaning, checking messages. Doing something easy feels like progress without risk, because the real task requires vulnerability. It asks you to begin before you feel ready, and that is often the hardest part, not the work itself, the start, the first step, that tiny moment where your brain has to cross from comfort into discomfort. This is why big motivation often fails. Motivation is unstable. The real solution is smaller. Can you make the first step so small that your brain stops resisting it? Open the document. Write one sentence. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Answer one email. Do the easiest version possible, because once motion starts, resistance usually drops. That is the hidden truth. Procrastination is strongest before action begins. After you begin, the task usually feels less dangerous. The imagined difficulty is often worse than the real difficulty, but your brain cannot learn that until you move. So the goal is not to shame yourself, not to force yourself through panic, not to wait until you feel ready. The goal is to shrink the start until it feels safe enough to begin. Because procrastination is not laziness. It is a protective system that has gone too far. And once you understand that, you can interrupt the loop. One small start, then another, then momentum. If this helped, subscribe for more research-backed explanations that make everyday behavior easier to understand.